My name is Fadme Gafarova Fadme. I lived in the Sudak district in the village of Kutlak. When the war started, I was 6 years old. The Germans attacked our homes. My sisters. I had 2 sisters and 1 brother. When the Germans saw my sisters, my mother hid them. Until the Germans left, they stood on the stairs in the yard in a deep well. The Germans were looking for my sisters and even wanted to kill us. 3 Germans came to see us. One was tall, and his head was bandaged, and the 2 younger ones. When they came to our house looking for my sisters, the younger ones told us to get the baby out of there. My late mother hugged me, and when we went 12 steps down, this German started shooting at us behind. But he didn't hit us. However, there was a lot of dust around. Mom started screaming to her husband's brothers, "Come, save us, take the baby, I can't go anymore." Then my uncle picked me up. So these Germans left, I vaguely remember, but they must have left. After these events, when we came to Uzbekistan, when I went out to play, if my mother said that someone with bandaged head was walking towards, I was terrified. 2 soldiers came to us at 4 o'clock in the morning and said they would give us 15 minutes. I had 2 sisters, a mother, and a brother. Everyone took a little bag. And my mother took me in her arms. In the cemetery, Seba, the eldest sister, Seba, the second, Ach, and brother Goffer. Mom, Dad was in the labor army. Dad was not there. We were taken to the cemetery. There was a cemetery. I was little. I had dolls on my hands made by my mother, such ugly dolls. They were in my hands. And we were being led to the cemetery, all crying, thinking we were being led to the shooting. There was school, and there was a machine gun. It was aimed at the Crimean Tatars. If somebody had tried to escape, they'd have shoot. The whole village was gathered. There were no men there. Grandmothers, children, grandfathers. And then the cars came. At that moment, my brother was lost. He was fast. He wasn't there. Everyone was put in cars, but my brother was not there. My mother began to wail, oh, my God." Then it turned out he was in one of the cars. He went, too. This car was going after ours. We were taken to Simferopol and loaded into the carriages there. There, too, everyone was crying and moaning. Someone loses a child. Someone a mother. That's how everyone was loaded.
How did the soldiers treat you? How were you looked after?
How could they? They looked rough. Those who didn't get on the wagons were pushed with butt stocks. We had no food, no bread, nothing. How many days we were hungry. The people on the train, those who took the bread with them, divided it among children of our age and gave it to them. No one else was getting food. After 2 days of travel, they started to give us fish soup. There was no meat, just bones. The soup from the bones of fish. That's how we got to Uzbekistan.
On the way, were there any dead on the way?
There were dead people on the way, Aish. They were thrown out along the way of the train. Children were dying. Old men were dying. There were those who were sick. They were dying, too. Even though I was a kid, I know all that. We came to Uzbekistan. Hunger, poverty. We were on the road for 18 days. In the end, we were brought in. And then everyone was scattered somewhere. We got into the Molotov collective farm. We lived in Molotov's collective farm for a year. My sister Seba had a dowry: gold, woolen scarves, beautiful dresses. We exchanged them for one bowl of sorghum, then cooked, and so lived. Seba's fiancé did not return, for brothers all died in the war. We sold her dowry, exchanged it for a sorghum bowl. This sorghum was prepared once a day. No salt, no oil. And so our days passed. When we arrived in Uzbekistan, we were immediately taken to the Molotov collective farm. We lived there for a year. We ran out of all the supplies we had. There's nothing left. My father died a year later. He didn't take these soups out of sorghum and Uzbek water. Although he was quite a big man, his galoshes even had a nickname: Galoshes of Uncle Abliamit, in which a puppy was born. Such a nickname was in the village of Kutlak. My father starved to death. Even though I was a 6-year-old, I crawled on all fours. There was no food. My late mother collected grass, boiled it, cooked it. She squeezed it and made little scones for me. If I ate those scones, I could walk till lunch. And in the afternoon, I was exhausted, I couldn't walk. That's how we lived. Dad died. Then my sisters grew up. They heard that Palvantash was going to be opened, that there was Palvantash. My brother, even though he was 14, got a job there. Then, after Dad died, we went to Palvantash. The Uzbeks didn't give us anything, thinking we were Russians. There were no houses where we went. It was all overgrown with reeds. Our people started to work, started to be given a little bread. The Uzbeks didn't give us anything, thinking we were Russians. Then the sisters started working and getting bread by cards. My brother, sisters, and mother went to the commandant's office every month to register. When they went to the commandant's office, both the sisters and mom cried. Traitors, Tatar dogs, where did you come from? Tatar dogs, that's the kind of horrible things they told us. But we survived anyway. What did you dream about when you were young? What were your hopes? When I was a kid, I was already in the 1st grade. The teachers told us that we were traitors and beat us with pointers. Where else to study? We had no clothes on. You go to school, and there the teachers hit you on the head with pointers. They called us corrupt Tatars. The Russians were there too. The Uzbeks and Russians called us corrupt Tatars. If you say something wrong, they hit you on the head with pointers. How to learn like this? Learn what? When winter came, I was in the 1st grade. There was a stadium on the way. When I went there, I was wearing only a dress, snow up to my knees. And on my feet were torn galoshes. I went to school like that. And I had a bag in my hand. My mother made it for me. One woman, I don't know who she was. I froze in this stadium, and I still had a long way to go to school. And this woman, I don't remember who she was, took me by the hand and took me to school. I was wearing only a chintz dress. How was I supposed to learn? What could I become? So my sisters worked and stood in line for small pieces of black bread. Did you remember Crimea a lot? My mother always had the key to her trunk in her pocket. She imagined going back and opening her trunk. My mother died at the age of 80. Dad died early, from hunger. My dad couldn't stand those hungry years. He was a big man. People called him Ablimit Big Man. When did you get married? Where did you work? Tell me about it. I got married when I was 18. At the time, there were no people who knew what love was. My sisters got married. Mom said, this guy's an oil man, gets paid. You'll marry, you won't be hungry anymore. What kind of love could we talk about at the time, Aish? Was he from Kutlak too? He was from Alushta, very handsome. What village was he from? Kenjaliev Sir. Sir is the son of Abdurrahman. From Kuruozan. When I saw Sir there, I ran away from him, embarrassed. My mother married me off with the words, you will be fed, you will not starve. That's how we got married, had children. I gave birth to 5 children, thank God. All alive and well. Did you really want to come back? Of course, I wanted to go back to Crimea, wanted to see the places my mother told me about. My mother never saw Crimea again. My brother would have brought my mother, but my mother couldn't take the plane or the train. That's why my mother never saw it again. All she asked was to bring her the stones from our yard. My brother, if he went, brought stones and put them in my mother's hands. So my mother stayed in Uzbekistan. We came in the 90s. My eldest son came here and bought a house. We all came to him. I have 12 grandchildren, 13 great-grandchildren now. Thank God, thank God. Let it be so for everyone. Let everyone reach this age. I'm 80 years old now. Let everyone see these years. Children, grandchildren. I ask God day and night. Ameen. Ameen, Allah. I was the youngest daughter. Of course, my mother loved me very much. Then, I remember a song. My mother sang, oh, Fadme, shall I sing now? I will show you the way and be your companion. Ah, my Fadme, why? I don't have a dress, that's why. I'll buy you a dress and I will be the buttons on it. Ah, my Fadme, why? I don't have a dress, that's why. I'll buy you a dress and I will be the buttons on it. With love.
Ah Fadime'm çık dereden, göster bana yol nereden. Yolu sana göstereyim, yoluna yoldaş olayım. Ah Fadime'm neçün, anterim yok onun için. Anteri sana men alayım, düğmelerin men olayım. Ah Fadime'm neçün, anterim yok onun için. Anter sana men alayım, düğmelerin men olayım. Eşkınıza.